Okay. Welcome to Constantine Village Council meeting on July 7th, 2025. 7:01 p.m. Start the meeting. First thing, I would like to appoint Mr. Honeysett to be recording secretary, manager. She's absent today, excused absence, so Mark, if you'll call roll, please.
Certainly. Denman. Steers. Don King.
Here.
Lawrence.
Here.
Gary Mathers.
Here.
Myra Mathers.
Here.
Piper.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, we do have a quorum. All right, now if you would, please stand and join me in saying the pledge of allegiance to our flag. After a July 4th holiday celebration. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first item number 2 is approval of our agenda.
May I?
Yes, sir.
Trustee Steers is not here yet, but he asked that we add the intersection of Centerville Street / 3rd Street and Mill. He's concerned about the traffic safety there. He told me he's witnessed a lot of near misses for crashes. But I think ultimately what he's hoping for is a traffic control order. And I sent the chief a message earlier asking whether or not the state needs to be involved in that sort of change, and I don't think so. I know that the state has parameters for changing speed limits, but that's a long way of talking about it. I didn't mean to go into that kind of detail because it's really Eric's baby, so.
He wants a stop sign. That's what,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
So I guess the new business is traffic order request.
That's all. It is. Crazy.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay. Motion by trustee Lawrence, supported by trustee King to approve the agenda as amended with the addition of the Mill Street order request. Any discussions? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed say no. Motion carries. Next, we have the regular meeting minutes of 6/16/25, pages 3 and 4 in your packet.
I'll make a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes of 6/16/2025 as presented.
I will second that.
Motion by trustee Lawrence, supported by trustee Piper to accept the regular meeting minutes of 6/16/25 as presented. Discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed say no.
I have a question.
Motion carries.
We had a lot of people come in and ask for newsletters. I just asked because that's what they
Ask for what?
had newsletters mailed, and we had a lot of people do that.
I think we're at 35.
Okay,
Big savings.
yeah, all right, thank you. I just wanted, I had somebody ask me, and I'm like, I don't know how many I'll put down. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, next on the agenda, item number 4, payment of bills, pages 5 through 7.
May I, before you get too deep into that?
Yes.
There's a change order request in there, and you can handle it as a part of the payment of the bills or separately, but it's change order number 7. So,
In there.
and I know it's number 7, I'm looking for the,
Page 8.
1/8.
8. Page 8. Change order number 7.
Thank you.
We had that in there, did we not, or was that part of the minutes? Did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually was in more detail on page 11.
change order? Is that part of it?
You can separate it, it can be a part of the change order
What do you
or
wanna do?
separate.
It's already in there, it's already part of the total, is it not?
No, it's not.
It isn't?
You're just approving the change order. If you approve it, they'll bill us for it on the next bill cycle. So we're not actually paying it this time,
On the next cycle?
Okay.
next month.
Okay.
Grand River will bill us for those changes.
Okay.
I've got, Jody's checking me, I've got a total of 458, 722, 76. And that would include that payment in the future, correct?
No,
It does not include that.
the change order is not in the pay request.
Change order if you got 41,778.
So are you asking, Mark, that we add that to the 458, 722?
What I'm gonna ask once the bills have been approved, is that you approve the change order.
Okay. Okay, I think Jody and I both had the same number for the amount of the bills, 458, 722, 76.
Can you say that again, please?
458,
Oh,
722, 76.
thank you.
Yep. Kathy?
I would like to make a motion that we pay the bills in the amount of $458,722.76.
Your second?
I'll second.
A motion by trustee Piper, supported by trustee M. Mathers to pay the bills in the amount of $458,722.76. Any final discussion? At the beginning, I put you recording secretary. I don't know if I did that.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I did, okay. Minutes, so, why don't you call roll, please?
King,
Yes.
Lawrence,
Yes.
Gary Mathers,
Yes.
Myra Mathers,
Yes.
Piper,
Yes.
Did you get how many? Five?
oh, Eric, I'm sorry, Steers.
Yes.
I didn't see you sneak in.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, motion carries 6-0. Motion is approved. Next, we have our time span for public comment. This is where anyone in the audience is permitted to go up. Yes.
Are we gonna approve that change order now, or later?
Hey,
I was gonna put it down on the new business, but it doesn't matter.
it can probably wait for the update, so the wastewater treatment plant update, so.
Unfinished business.
Okay.
Okay. Everyone, I think in the audience knows the routine, but now to come to the podium, please.
Yes, I am.
And we have a maximum of 3 minutes, so is it anything that's on our agenda? On your mind?
Good evening. The county commission is thinking, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Louis Rosado, your county commissioner. The county commission is considering recording and or playing live our meetings through the internet. A couple options have come to light. No decisions have been made, but right now, as of right now, it's gonna cost approximately $18,000 to get the system hooked up. It might end up being stored on our website so that at any given time, someone could look up a meeting and view it. The other option might be put it on YouTube, which is probably the easiest way to do it, is put it on YouTube, that way it's available forever. the question I have for you all here in the room today is there any interest? Yay, in favor of, or don't do it? What is everybody thinking of?
I don't think it'd be a bad idea.
You said the cost is 18,000?
Yeah, 18,000 is what the last cost that we're gonna be considering, but it may change, but there will be a cost. But right now, what I'm asking for is there interest? Do people want us to do this? Is there a need for this? Because as you all know, we have Paige who does it now, and it's available for people. So we took an informal survey the other day, and 50% of the people. Actually, can you help me out with this?
48% said no. One person said yes, and no, it's 50% no. 48 said just pay me, and 1% said yes.
Yeah. So one person out of all those polled said yes, do this. The other said no, and then of those, some said just pay Paige. She's doing it now. So
Our church does it through Facebook Live, and it doesn't cost,
That's what I do.
it doesn't cost anything.
right.
They just set it all up and videotape it.
I
I
say,
don't know why you'd have to go as far as spending $18,000 on it.
A lot of money.
It is. That's why I'm asking. And we decided to go back and ask the people. The issue is if we do it, I think then it becomes a FOIA issue, and FOIA costs money, and failure to answer FOIA costs money. Whereas if we just put it on Facebook or YouTube, it's available until they decide to take it down.
Sir.
So, am I correct that the consensus in here is what?
No.
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 If it's free, it's one thing, but
Right.
to spend.
To spend county money on that, the feeling is no. And one person said yes. We
I
should.
said, I would make sense to do it. I don't think you'd spend $18,000 to do it.
Okay.
I think there's gotta be a better way.
Yep. Okay. Thank you all for your input.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Rebecca Shank, 385 South Washington Street. I'm going to suggest something today that I suggested in the past, but nobody seemed to be interested enough in public safety on 4th Street in Washington. But during the parade this last Friday, we had quite a collection of people across Washington Street and up 4th Street. All of us collected under the one tree and had a discussion. And in the name of public safety and the safety of the park, we have a speedway between Washington Street and Mill Street on 4th Street. When I say speedway, I mean they've got their foot on the floor and they aren't paying attention to anything, including kids coming and going from the park, in and out of the alley. And I'm suggesting, approved by a lot of the people that were in the conversation with us on Friday, that we put stop signs on 4th Street at White Pigeon to slow this traffic. We have a family with little children there at that corner. We have children coming and going from the park. And it's a miracle that we haven't had any serious accidents in that area. Now, I'm not close enough to 5th Street, except that I can tell you that it seems like from my block away that there's a close to the same amount of traffic. There is 2 or 3 cars in particular, white, low-slung cars that just tear up those 2 streets across White Pigeon Street without even slowing. Dangerous. And we've got to watch out for our families and all who are coming to the park to utilize it. Another suggestion that I have, since we have our police represented here today, is that maybe we should have a Constantine police story time in the park when some of these kids can all get together and hear about that old book that they used to read when I was a kid. About,
We need to wrap up now, that's 3
Yeah.
minutes. You have a closing comment?
yes, now that's gone off, I've forgotten the name of the book. But it would be good to make these kids realize that screaming, which they do a whole lot of in that park, when I was growing up, meant you were in trouble. What was the name of that book? Yeah, that's it. Don't cry wolf unless there is one.
Okay, thank you very much.
So that would not only quiet things down there, it would make things safer too.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address council? Chief, have you had any thoughts on what you were talking about, the speed control? Probably haven't even had a chance to look through that.
I've not, this is the first I'm aware that,
Okay.
I've gotten the email, I was out all afternoon, so.
Anyone else like to address council? Okay, move on. Visitor presentations, we don't have any visitors that'll speak later, I assume. Anybody else wants to speak tonight, Mark, right?
None that I have, no.
Okay. All right, unfinished business, starting on page 55 is the wastewater treatment plant update. Mr. DeVries, here for that?
No, I might just here to talk about the fire station.
Fire station.
Oh, you're here for the fire station. Okay. Put you on hold for a second. Hey.
That's on page 56.
It's 56 in the packet.
This isn't really new news. They are on target to, I think we will be switching to the new treatment plant before the end of September. And there's a list, a project status list and milestones. There will be a clean water startup at the treatment plant on July the 7th through the 11th. And they'll begin wastewater treatment on July the 16th through the 19th. So substantial completion date is August 26th, final completion September 25. The wastewater treatment will, like I said, will start in mid-July, and if all goes well, and there are certain tests that the plant has to pass, if all goes well, that's when they will revert to or proceed forward to the final completion date. So, but like I say, we are very much on target, probably a little bit ahead of what we were, what we thought it would be even as little as 6 weeks ago. As you're aware, we had another break on the force main on Gleason Road, 2 weeks ago, so the timing could not be better. I shouldn't say this out loud, I'm hoping that was the last of the breaks. MMPA is gonna be off of our system on Wednesday, and being that there will probably be less, will certainly be less flow and probably be less pressure on the line. Hopefully that will get us through to the end of September.
Great.
So on the 16th, this is like preliminary stuff they're going through before we can actually hook everybody up?
I'm sorry, can you say
Is
that?
this all preliminary stuff that they're gonna start on the 16th, or just to get it up running to see if it's gonna be ready?
Yeah, no, I'm
Okay.
still trying to arrange a tour
Oh,
for the council. I don't have anything new from Joe Benjamin yet,
okay.
but hopefully that will happen, and probably part and parcel of that, you'll get a little bit more background on the reason for those two test dates, the 7th of, I'm sorry, 7th of July, and the 16th of July, so.
I have a question,
Oh.
probably funny, but are we gonna have a truck that takes it and spreads it like we used to?
Have a truck that what?
That takes some of the stuff out of the tanks and takes it out and spreads it on cornfields and stuff?
I don't know,
They use.
I
other
think
places
that,
do
yeah, I think that was part of the hope, but there has to be somebody who wants the fertilizer, so, and whether or not anybody's been approached or has approached us, I don't know yet.
Any applications for the operator yet?
No, hey, I'm glad you mentioned that. No, I don't. We thought we had somebody lined up for interview last Tuesday. We could go tomorrow, and he contacted me immediately after I scheduled the interview and canceled. He said he found another job. So I think what is going to happen, it almost has to happen, is Fleece and Vandenbrink Ops is going to have to run it on an interim basis until we can find somebody new. We've got a total of, I think it's 89 people in Michigan who are licensed to do this work. And, well, no, I'm sorry, a total of 499 people in Michigan who are licensed to do this work. I'm trying to pare the list down to about 75, maybe even fewer than that we'll send letters to asking them to submit resumes. So it's really unfortunate because the person that we had lined up, according to Taylor Davis at Three Rivers, according to Joe Benjamin at F&B, he looked to be a very good candidate for the job, but.
He works at Three Rivers now.
I'm sorry?
He works at Three Rivers now.
No, well, Taylor Davis
Right.
is the person who's, yes, he is their operator, their engineer.
Oh, he's the one?
He's the one who said that this candidate was
Oh,
very
does
close.
that candidate that you're talking about work at Three Rivers?
No.
Did you have it's been posted, so you should be getting applications in soon.
Yes, yeah.
So MMPA will be off on the 9th, you said, this Wednesday?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be today. I talked with Dave Davis today, and he said it's gonna be Wednesday, so.
Has Kaplan been hauling that tank that's out front on?
Yeah, we had plugged line again on Water Street. That's the third time in the last 3-4 weeks. So Taplin was there to clean it out, and I've got to talk with MMPA to determine how much of that was contributed by them and how much of it was natural. But yes, that will have been an expensive three visits from Taplin. On the first one, Mr. Davis said, please send us the bill. Then he came back with, well, are you sure it was us? And of course, there's,
Imagine that.
there was nobody there to test what was in there, but, yeah, I'm pretty well satisfied it was there.
Is that why it was so stinky? It's pretty stinky down that way.
Did it?
So that's actually past the deadline though, right? Or was it the middle of July?
I think it was mid-July.
It was July first, was it the sixteenth?
Didn't they have to be off the system by the 16th, Mark?
They have to be off by the 16th.
Yeah.
The 16th.
Yeah, so it's early.
I thought they were gonna be July first.
Oh, that's what, okay.
Any other comments or questions for Mark on the wastewater treatment plant?
No, I just want you to deal with the change order here, so.
Oh, man, that's very true.
Page 15.
Number you did?
Change order number 7.
No, page one. That was earlier.
I start on 13.
The email part of it starts on 7 and 8, I think.
And I think 13 and 14. 17.
Yeah, page 13. Yeah. That was fine. Refer to page 13.
Starts on 13. I think it goes all the way through all this.
That's one part of it.
This is part of it.
Page number 11.
Yeah, you're right. Description here on page 11, Mark referred us to two. Item number 1 is the added stair bracing for $44.93, $4,493. And item 2 is a door closure change, $5,541 even. And the change order, wait a minute.
Does this money come out of that $140,000 that we had, Mark?
Yes,
Okay. Do we know where we're at with that amount?
I don't know what remains there, no.
The total was gonna be 41,000, is it not?
Yeah, 41,778.
78.
Yeah. That's the order, the change order on page 12 and also what's on page 11. Any questions or comments about the 5 items making up that change?
I guess I'm a little confused. I mean, wouldn't furnish and install door closers be a part of the original bid, or did we need new door closers?
I'm sorry, Rick, I couldn't understand what you were saying.
So the change order is to, in their description, furnish and install door closers on 4 doors. They just didn't have door closers?
I'm sorry, but I don't know. I'm assuming that they didn't have either they didn't have what they needed or it needed to be changed.
Okay.
It might be an upgrade,
Yeah, I just,
spend the money.
Yeah, page 20, you see that, I assume, that.
yeah,
the
21.
Yeah, 20, 21 referred to it, but.
Or like added stair braces, like, I guess when you design the stairs, aren't they already braced correctly?
They were not,
Are these old stairs that they had to
no,
retro?
they're new stairs. They were a little wobbly, so they needed to brace them.
Okay.
Those are the steel stairs outside the building.
I could raise, if I could do it for 2 more months.
trying to get it sealed. Yeah. I don't know exactly what the issue is, but so far they haven't been able to get it sealed tight, so.
So it's still leak?
Yeah, there's still groundwater coming in, yes.
Spent a lot of money on that.
They may not stop it.
I'll make a motion that we approve change order number 7 in amount of $41,778.
I'll second.
But for the next meeting, can we find out where we're at with that money, Mark?
Yes.
Just because once the plant starts, we're done, right? Whatever's left, we lose. Correct?
Well,
Has to be spent.
are you asking if there's money left over, do we forfeit at that point?
Right,
Joe guarantees me none of it will be forfeit.
okay. I just don't wanna give it back. We don't have to.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Piper, supported by trustee Steers, to approve change order number 7 in the amount of $41,778. Any other comments or questions? Okay, Mark, can you call roll, please?
Lawrence. G. Mathers.
Yes.
M. Mathers.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Steers.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Okay, motion is approved. Next, item B, Florence Road update.
Give me half a second here.
Sure.
The Florence Road, the primary work is done, they still have some, secondary things they have to do, but I'm sure you've been out there. If you're like me, you drive it several times a day. Like with most projects, there have been some challenges, but for the most part, things are proceeding nicely. I think you would agree that the road is much, much smoother. We're still fighting the battle of getting trucks to stop staging on that road. And I've been in communication with Ox Paperboard, Ox Engineered Products, a number of times. We will get it, but we haven't put stop signs up yet because, well, A, we don't, or not stop signs. No parking signs up yet because A, I don't have them yet, and B, I don't wanna put those up until they're done with the shoulders of the road because they'll just be torn right back down again. So, I don't know, and Kathy, I think you're the one that mentioned, that there's a program they can schedule deliveries and pickups at their plant,
I know Fires has done.
so, okay.
Fires has told them no parking on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And Ox was pulling in our parking lot to park, and David said, no,
Okay.
you guys gotta find your own spot, so.
I guess if they wanna pay rent, and I'm being facetious, obviously, but, yeah, they've got a challenge ahead of them, and they knew this was coming, but they've also just changed management there, so, which isn't to say that it would have been better had they not, but it probably would complicate things a little bit.
So, are they able to do it on Centerville Street, down by the cemetery?
Yeah, I've seen
Or are
trucks.
they the same?
I've seen them tarping both on Cemetery Street and on Centerville Street. There's nothing to prevent their doing that, other than traffic congestion.
The problem is,
But,
there's
yeah.
not enough room. If they tarp, they can't get off the road far enough, two trucks can't, the road's not wide enough.
On the north end of the
Yeah.
cemetery there?
Yeah.
Once it turns to Third Street, it's not a truck route anymore, is it?
I don't know. I know that I've seen pictures on Facebook of trucks parked there.
Heavy trucks are not banned from there, if restricted from there, if that's what you mean, but it's certainly not the ideal, so.
Oh.
I thought Ox was gonna buy that corner lot on the east make that into parking, that tree, where also trees are, but apparently they decided against that, for some reason, I'm not sure why.
I think it's because that new company that just bought the place, there's some huge finance company. They just bought it for, I don't know, but they probably have, they've only, like he said, they've only owned the place. They've owned it for a little while, but they're officially changing the name recently, but yeah, I don't. But there's been a number of trucks. If you go drive down through there, you can see there's a lot of tracks there where they always parked. They're still doing it.
Not industrial.
Yeah, right on the edge of the cemetery, right where they come
On
out.
the corner.
Yeah. I mean, they've already pretty much done the shoulders and put the,
No, I think
Spray
they've still
down,
got,
right?
I think they've still got more to do on the shoulders.
well, a lot of it they've already done. They sprayed the green
Yeah,
grass
yeah,
already.
yeah.
Is it as wide as it was before? For some reason it looks narrower to me, the road itself, is it as wide?
It's still the same width.
I don't think there's any change in the dimensions.
It just looks narrow.
I was shocked the way they did the storm drains though. The way they put the storm drains in.
Yeah,
It's just, they just put them in and they just grow grass around them. That's just gonna wash, it's gonna fill that storm drain up. So
actually, that's one of the things that Mark has raised with, Matt Johnson.
yeah, why didn't they put some concrete around it
I
so it doesn't fill up?
think that's what will happen, if
Okay.
not concrete, some sort of pavement
Right.
there, so,
Otherwise, it's just gonna fill up with dirt
yeah,
and plug it back.
yeah.
Okay, other comments on this? Anyone? Okay. Moving on, fire station update. I believe we've got here Matt Johnson, but I think, Mike, are you taking Matt's place in that?
I'm taking Matt's place today.
Introduce me from, Mike DeVries from Jason Vandenbrink. Turn it over to you.
Turn it over to me. I'm gonna use that. Well, the question's been in regards to building the fire station 26 or 27. And the suggestion would be to build it in 26. The cost that, even carrying 1 year, we're watching 15 and 20% increase on material. And it'd be a great savings to do it ahead of time. The timing that breaks down with that is, we start the application in August of 2025. And either way, how it works, the funding doesn't become available until December of 2026. Got that right? Funding, no, I take that back. The funding can become December of 2025. That's right. So the option would be to start the engineering and architectural drawing process ahead of the actual funding coming in. So we would start for the 2026 construction schedule. We would start the engineering right after we start the application process, so that we could then complete the bond approval in November, and then the project funding would come in December of 26, and then start construction in July 26. The other option for the 27 construction would be to start the application and then hold off on doing anything from the design standpoint until after the bond has been received in December. And then that pushes the whole thing out a year to construction in May of 27. Hope I said that in a way that was organized very nice on my screen. So, the difference between the two ultimately is beginning the engineering before the USDA funding comes in. The budget has the amount to do the work, and, well, I should say, the funding that the village has is budgeted for it, so that portion is not really a problem. And the USDA has pointed out that this is a very high priority project, So the funding is, can't always say guaranteed, but the funding is very much on a high priority to be received. There's always that chance, have to put that in there, there's always a chance of the government holding back on funding, which we haven't seen, but there's always that chance, just have to put that out there.
My concern is if the construction is pushed back, that there would almost certainly be a significant bump in the expense. Originally, we were looking at 3.1 million, and talking with Matt Johnson, we could be looking at as much as 3.4 to 3.5 million.
Yeah.
If the construction is pushed back a year. So,
I don't think we should push it back.
I don't think we should either, but that's my opinion. So.
Yeah, my only concern is how much engineering goes into a pole barn? Basically what we're building, right? A pole building?
The shell of the pole building,
Right.
that's, the interior is where the cost, it's like building a house, you know, you could build the same house here as you can here, but what you put into it is what costs.
I mean, I guess my question is, we're talking about a building with an office and a training room and areas to park trucks.
Mhm.
How much, we're not building a house, we're building a storage barn. And it's amazing to me that we would spend that much money on, I mean, I know guys that build pole barns and I've asked, and when I tell them how much, they said, well, what are you building this thing out of? Because it sounds like it's crazy, is what they're saying. I mean, there's guys in Indiana build pole barns that are bigger than that lot for $1.5 million. I mean, you're gonna insulate the inside, of course, there has to be some kind of water in there to wash the trucks with drainage, but are we gonna tear all the concrete out and start over? Are we gonna build it on top of what's there? Because that concrete is not that old.
That would all come out, it doesn't fit the pad that the proposed building would fit on.
Because we haven't seen a design.
Oh.
We were told we wouldn't see a design until we approved what we were gonna do. I'd like to see a design before I even consider spending that much money.
Well, design could always change.
I'm talking about general, I'm not talking about where every outlet's gonna be. I wanna see the design of the building before we spend $3.5 million on it.
Okay.
I mean, I hope I'm not the only one that feels that way.
Well,
Exactly.
I thought last meeting it was, we were approving this amount because we can't go back and get any higher, but it kinda just sounded like it's gonna cost that much, actually.
We don't know for sure yet, but if we wait, it's gonna cost more.
The longer we wait, the more it costs. But it's kind of like investing $3.5 million of taxpayer money into a building and we haven't even seen what it looks like yet.
Right.
We don't even know. And if there's something that, I mean, it was brought to my attention that there was initial talks about the police department going in there, but that was gonna be $1 million more. I'm like, how could it be $1 million more to put in some more offices?
There's a lot more to it than just offices. There's, data connections, security that has to be in there. For the fire station, there's decontamination rooms, there's washrooms that they have to have in there. Air filling stations, heating and cooling for the fire trucks, connections for the fire trucks, chargers. There's a very large laundry list that goes into.
All that stuff that we don't have now, basically, is what you're saying.
Right.
But we'd still like, myself, I'd like to see a design. Because right now, we're just throwing money at what people think they should have versus what we
It's
maybe,
absolutely necessary.
yeah, I mean,
I've not talked to one person that's comfortable spending $3 million on a fire station.
not with $18 million over our head already for that sewer plant down there. That's just my opinion.
Weren't there plans presented to council?
Well, they were not engineering.
Not engineering.
But
something to the board or something.
But apparently that changed a couple times. They took out this, took out that.
Cause the original grant was supposed to almost pay for everything, wasn't it?
No, the original grant, the grant was from Congressman Wolver's office, and that was 1.55 million, so.
There was another grant that was used to clean up the site.
Right.
That's all the brownfield and all that has been.
The dirt, contamination and all that stuff.
The soil hasn't been tested yet though, right?
The soil was tested, the soil was mixed when it was put back, and because it's going to be covered, we're going to put the pavement over top of that, there's not a concern for it. There's not also the concern from the ownership because of the way it was transferred. There is concern in regards to the building that's there, whether there's asbestos and other things.
Right.
Which can escalate the cost of the demolition. So that's part of
We
the
expect
study as well.
Yeah,
We expect it.
yeah, given the age of the building, there's gonna be asbestos, you know that. But, and the other concern is there has to be some soil testing there, where they pull the tanks, but that's
Didn't you
what's
just say that was already done?
Well, they didn't test the soils while they were putting it back. So there is the potential there. So there are some environmental work that we are going to do in that area there. But we're also going to be looking at how we redesign it and in essence cap it so that if there is anything in there, it won't be a problem. It won't cause any more of a problem than it'll be more stagnant. You know, allowing the water passing through can be an issue, but.
So how long do you think that and the asbestos abatement will have to take so we can get, I mean, we have funds to tear it down, but we're waiting for, what's the asbestos abatement? Before we can tear it down?
That's part of the whole plan with our the proposal that we submitted. I don't know if it has come to the board yet, or did Matt just get it to you the other day for review?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't know that
I don't think Matt,
question.
did Matt get you the proposal already, or did he just get you
No.
the amount? Okay. In the proposal, we have 3 steps in regards to the environmental, to clean up the building, or study the building before we demo the building, basically is what it is. So that could be, you know, like to do it all at the same time, as we talked about, you know, trying to start the process early. It does take quite a bit of time to design, you know, the whole thing while we're doing the wiring and all of that, and then there's gonna be a lot of decisions in regards to the build out as well. But there's a concept plan that was developed that showed how the pieces all fit in. Like Mr. Keith said, they did take the fires that are the police station off of that. But once again, it was more of a general concept in regards to what it looks like, but I'm sure we could bring that to show.
And one other reason I think we should start as soon as possible is the fire station we have right now, we don't wanna have to put more money into that if we don't have to, because right now, we're just kinda getting by with the way it is, our fire station right now. We don't wanna have to put any more money in it. We can get this
I don't want to
done.
put another dime in it, obviously
I know.
that's not realistic, but
Right.
because there will be some, lower level maintenance and repair as needed, but no, I don't want to do
So-
another thing to it.
So the sooner we can get this done, the sooner the better. I mean,
My opinion is we build the fire station with the minimum needed to have a fire station and cut the cost as much as possible, and down the road, if we can add stuff, we'll add it. But people do not want us to spend that much money on a fire station.
As near as I can tell, that is rather minimalist, is what is being proposed here. I mean, there are certain things that you have to have.
I understand that.
And it's really, I don't wanna use the phrase, but I'm going to, on the cheap, as not the Taj Mahal, not by any stretch. And,
I hate to not trying to be sarcastic, we have a volunteer fire department. So it's just a lot of money to spend on a building, considering what we have now versus what we're building. That's what people look at.
If I were asked by somebody, where would I tell them to look at what the requirements are when building a new fire station?
I'm not the architect, but I could get to the codes that all go in that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I would have to send that to you.
Could we maybe at the next meeting have somebody come in and go over some of the requirements?
We could,
Or have a basic design maybe?
we
Maybe
do,
some idea?
we could talk about that, the basic design. We could have the breakdown that we show.
I would just like to be able to tell people, this is the requirement that they're giving us. We have to have all this stuff in fire station.
Sure.
And I'm gonna say this again. There's nothing fancy about what's being done here. It's still gonna be a basic fire station. The fact that it's a volunteer fire department makes no difference.
Well, it does make a difference, Morris.
I'd say go up to Kalamazoo Township and look at that's totally volunteer fire department as well, but.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like, being that we're volunteers, we don't need living quarters, we don't need all that other stuff that some that have 24-hour firefighters need. What I'm saying is, like Eric, I just wanna be able to say to people, look, we're spending as little as possible, we have to do something. Right now, I can't even tell them what the building looks like, or all I'm saying is, when people ask me, I'm saying, they're saying 3.5 million, but we don't know what the building looks like yet. And I know what you're gonna say, I know what you're thinking, we were voted in to make these decisions. But we also have to, people are really getting frustrated because now the water bills just went up again, people are, like, I'm like, you gotta pay for stuff.
Okay.
And then there's another $3.5 million being spent. That's all I'm saying. I just wanna be able to justify it to people.
Okay, I'm not arguing.
Okay.
Either your right to do that or your obligation to do that, certainly. But, I mean, 3.5 million,
I know it doesn't sound like
it's
it.
not very much money in the grand scheme.
I know
I saw Kathy smile, but it's not, I mean, not
It
for
isn't.
a building like
that. It
that.
isn't, but
Certainly
okay.
it's a lot of money, but
When people say, why did we spend $18 million on a treatment plant? My response is, it should have been 10. But COVID happened and we got screwed.
well, it wasn't just.
That's, right? With this, I wanna be able to say to people, look, we're doing the bare minimum. But I haven't seen anything, so I don't know that, is what I'm saying.
Could please come in with a presentation for us at the next meeting?
Or maybe even
Next
a
meeting.
month, I don't care, I just wanna be able to say, this is the bare minimum, this is what we gotta do.
I don't think so.
I mean, we're going from a block building where there's a very minimal space to something that we gotta have decontamination. I didn't know that. Nobody out there knows they need that stuff. They think they need somewhere to park the trucks and wash them and fill them up with gas and go fix fires. I mean, that's what people look at.
My main more concern was, I thought last meeting you said that would put us completely milled out. We would be at the extent of our millage we can impose, correct?
On the fire,
On the fire side.
yeah.
Fire station.
That's all, I'm sorry, that was my concern, I'm not trying to.
I understand.
Again, I think maybe F&B needs to come in and, answer some of the questions or concerns that our residents have. We're not under the gun yet to get it done tonight or anything like that.
No, it doesn't have to be done tonight. It's gotta be done relatively soon in order to get the, engineer drawings prepared.
Get things started.
But it doesn't have to happen tonight.
Well, I don't know about everybody else, but if we decide to do it, I wanna do it as soon as possible. Cause every month we wait, it's gonna
Yeah.
cost more.
Yeah.
I don't wanna spend more money because we waited for no reason.
Right.
I mean, that's just me.
I would agree.
But at the same time, you're saying it's costing too much, we can't.
I wanna be able, I wanna see why it's costing that much, I guess that's all I said. I just wanna see it why.
Meet at the next meeting or soon.
Yes,
Say,
I'd
this
like
is
to do
why,
that.
this is what's in there, this is what's different than the block barn we have now.
I found my list of codes. We're also looking at a township, another fire station in a different township. And here are the codes that you have to follow by. It's obviously the Michigan Building Code, the 2010 ADA code, the 2009 ICC, A1 17.1.
Just a quick question,
Yeah.
is there a similar building somewhere in the area that we could look at? I mean, is there another fire station in the county or something that they built that would be similar, like the one on White Pigeon maybe? They've got a newer building out there.
We can
Right outside
probably
of
find
town.
See if we can find one.
I mean, that would be the best thing to me, if we got to see a building and say, yeah, we need that, we need
The
that.
one that,
It's similar.
the one that Chief Hayden referred to was the one at Howard Township. And I've not seen that building, but that's when Mike went to the, to F&B, he said, hoping for something, but not necessarily similar, because Howard Township's was relatively inexpensive compared to these days. But, and so that's what I think that they fashioned these plans
Okay.
under, so.
We could probably find some that are similar.
I mean, even if it was just pictures,
I can show you the Taj Mahal. You wanna see the Taj Mahal, just Google City of Portage.
if you wanna see Taj Mahal, do the city of Middlebury. I mean, their glass garage doors are probably 60, 70 grand. They got
Those are
60.
crazy, but,
That thing is enormous and it's beautiful. I mean, you drive by and you're like, holy moly. Their electric bill has to be insane for all the lights they have outside. But yeah, I understand.
so some of the things, when we talk about where are some of the costs, the glass has to meet an ASHRAE 90.1 daylight requirements. There'll be a diesel exhaust extraction system. Generally, we got the heating, hose and storage for hose bibs, utility sinks for drains, floor-mounted sinks, interior fire hose connections to fill the tanks of the vehicles. Trying to find some of the other ones that are, when you look at here, there's a cleaning room where they talk about you have to have all stainless, everything has to be stainless steel shelving in there, gas connection for the gear drying cabinets, electro hookups for all the PPE gear, and you have all of the data connections in there. You have a climate control storage room for all the, like the tanks and things like that.
Equipment, yeah, I understand.
Yep. Then you have the whole air filling stations, which can add up pretty quick. I mean, even the bathrooms get expensive. But yeah, there's not anything that doesn't need to be there. The number that's there is you can't go back to the USDA and say, oh, we'd like more money. So, what you're looking at is, like Mark said, it's basic. And it's fairly stripped down. But at the same point, the funding, you wanna make sure that you get the funding that you need.
Okay.
You know, can things be changed around? We usually put in there in the budget, we estimate what would potentially go in a building. But then we also work with, like with the township to see, or the village to see what you really want, you know? These are the things, you know, this is what you could have, this is what you need, this is what you could have, this is what you might want. So there's flexibility in there as well. But yes, I think we could, you know, show the concept plan that we have, we could give a little more breakdown of what all the things we're putting in there. I'm reading off of the other townships, which is very similar, it's about the same size. You have, they're both the same size, they both have 3 bays, and an office on the side. I think you may have a little more locker system than what they have, cause it's not their main fire department spot, but they also have, 2 bays for trucks and 1 bay for, maintenance and, yard maintenance and that kind of stuff, but.
Alright.
There's a lot that goes into it, I can tell you, I was surprised talking with the architect and what the requirements are, when you look at. I was gonna give you the last ones that you need to look up. You know, all the ones like the mechanical code, plumbing code, those are all 2015. The one is, the occupational safety for the fire department's standards are NFPA 1500. And then for fire department infection control is NFPA 1580. That's a lot of boring reading, but.
Oh, I read electrical code books, they're kind of ridiculous.
It's about 3 times that, so.
Yeah.
But yes, it is, there's definitely, it's a good amount of money, but it's an investment that's gonna be there for the long term.
Hopefully till long after all of us.
But yes,
Hopefully we
probably,
still have a village after we're all.
I can reach out to Matt and have him put something together in a little bit more detail for
Yeah.
our next meeting is on the 21st, so.
yeah, I'll talk to Matt when I get back, I was out today, but, we talk about it and we'll see, we definitely have the breakdown of, we have an initial breakdown of what we do a space needs study, so you study how much space you need versus how much equipment you need, so you can try and fit it all in there. That's the first thing before you start even doing any planning. We have that, and then we have the conceptual site plan that we can show.
If you could get it by the next meeting, that'd be great.
That's almost, that's have to happen by the next meeting,
Yes.
so I'll stick with it.
Next thing on the 21st?
Yes.
Yeah, we could do that.
Thank you very much. Any more questions for Mr. Rodriguez? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, under new business, we want to add Centerville 3rd Street, Mill Street traffic order.
Turn it over to Eric, he's the one that has asked it, you know, look at.
Well, I just know that intersection quite well, and I think after seeing you two almost get T-boned after coming to a complete stop, went to right away. Every day there's gonna be a big accident there one day. I mean, kids cross, golf carts cross there to go to the river. It's a big access point, and with the trees and the bend to the road, there's a lot of blind spots and you can't see. So I guess I would, ask the council to consider, putting a four-way stop there.
There's already a cross stop,
Yeah,
right?
there's already a cross stop on Mill.
I know if you're going north on Mill, there's that big tree on the
It's
north,
hard to
right?
see
It's hard
around.
to see past that.
And if
Yeah.
you're coming the opposite way from the Little League fields towards here, it's just as bad. I had those 3 trees on Miss Sorensen's. The way it bends just enough that there's a lot of blind spots.
Well, and the way you slow people down is make them stop. That's really true. What you said is true. We drive around a golf cart a lot. You yelled at me one time for going too fast. I just waved at you, but I wasn't going too fast, but you yelled at me anyway. But I agree with you. People do fly through that yield sign right there.
I did, but it was only just this afternoon that I sent a request to Dan to check into whether or not the council has the authority to make those decisions at this level, or if there has to be some input from the state. And I know he hadn't had a chance to look into that just yet, but, my best guess is the state would have no say in this. The state can dictate the formula for developing speed limits, but if it's not a state road, I don't think they have the authority to say, yes, you can, or no, you may not adopt such a traffic order. So, and then, like I say, I'm very confident, but I hate to be wrong and learn that later on, so.
Okay, Kathy?
What about put stop signs where those yield signs are? Take the yield signs away and just put stop signs. At least they have to slow down enough to stop, and now instead of just, I've gone through there and yield is slow down a little bit and keep going.
Yeah.
So,
But
if we have, so I think what you're saying is, you don't have a problem with it as long as the state allows us to do it.
I don't have a problem with it as long as we're not
Or-
prohibited from doing
Right,
it. I guess
okay,
we can get a
okay.
better way to put it, but,
I think she's talking about the one on White Pigeon Street.
okay, all right. Now, I was a little bit
Yeah,
confused.
White
Is
Pigeon
it
Street.
Fourth Street and,
No.
is that a yield?
Yeah, right.
That
right.
is-
There's a yield sign right there on
Yeah.
4th Street and White Pigeon Street, coming, if you're going this way towards her house.
And they go straight through with their foot on the floor.
I agree with you. I think that is also a very, stop sign. If a stop sign saves somebody from getting in an accident, I don't see a problem with it.
They'd all travel slowly on paths anyway.
So you're suggesting the chief comes back with some ideas or a study or something to talk to council with at the next meeting? Is that possible?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's do that, then let's get some more information and proceed after that.
One last question about something different. Have we looking for somebody to replace Mark? We talked about it a few months ago, now it's been a few months again. I'm not trying to push it out, I'm
No,
just,
I can tell you, I'll speak for her because I think she's afraid of being chewed out. No, there's nothing that has happened yet. I still haven't been in touch with MML.
okay.
And I don't wanna go too far into this. I'd like to look even from a different direction, but yes, it is. If MML gets involved, they will, what am I trying to say? Recommend a process for
Okay.
finding a new manager and even for seeking applications and what sort of resume you need to look at, so.
Okay.
Kathy?
Did we get a report from Edge? We approved their payment last meeting and you were gonna find reports of what they've done.
Thanks for the reminder. I will, yeah, the check has been mailed, but yes, I will make myself a note to.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Hearing nobody with any other questions or ideas, we will adjourn our meeting at 8:12 p.m.